Every person's mother has a story. And the stories are rich and varied. They're all unique. My mother had a dream of moving to Alaska. And life did not work out that way for her. She got married and had kids and all of that. But at the age of 57, she was a widow, had been for many years, and both kids were gone. And so my mother took off for Alaska at 57. She had enough money. She was not a wealthy person. She had enough money to live for 6 months. And in that 6 months, she had to find a job of some kind. But the end of the 6 months, she had no job. And so she prepared to come back to Chicago, which was not what she wanted to do. And she bought a plane ticket. And before the plane left, I don't know, it was a day or just a very brief amount of time before the plane was scheduled to leave, my mom had a stroke. And she went in the hospital to be treated for the stroke, from which she recovered virtually 100%. But the hospital people and the rehab people were so together. By the way, Alaska has tremendous social services. They found my mom a job. And she worked for the U.S. government and stayed in Alaska. She lived the last 25 years of her life in Alaska. She was not an outdoorsy person. She was not physically strong, but that's where she wanted to be. And mostly, she loved it. She went for her dream, and she did it. So every mom has a story. And your mom has a story. And the stories are as varied as snowflakes. They're all unique. They are, like most of our stories, mixed with joys and sorrows, both. But our moms give us life itself, the most amazing gift that anyone could ever possibly imagine, the gift of being alive. And in the vast majority of cases, our moms cared for us. They made sure we were as safe as possible, made sure we were fed, took care of our owies, made sure we went to school and learned enough to make it in the world. They mostly were there for us when we got hurt. And even when they got mad, we knew that they loved us. This is not the story of everyone, but there's a lot of stories like that. Even a difficult, grouchy mom, if there ever was such a thing, has given us so much, including life itself. Being a mom is hard work. And it is full-time with no days off. It is full of stress and various disasters that happen just all the time. It is a difficult job, even with the great advantages of a modern, convenience-oriented world that we live in. Even with all that stuff, it's challenging. But what of all the moms living outside the boundaries of our affluent society, both in this country and around the world? Do we comprehend their struggle? Do we know how to appreciate them and thank them? Do we know how to help their life be less burdened? In our very affluent society, we still fall far short of giving moms the support systems they need to help them take care of us. At the very minimum, our moms need safe streets so that their kids can walk to school. And they need to know that on the way to school, their kids will not be robbed or hassled or assaulted. Our moms need to know that our schools at the end of those walkways are safe and will be well equipped and staffed and will treat every kid with respect, regardless of the unique qualities of that child. Our moms need to know that if the children become ill, there will be medical treatment available for them, that they'll be able to take their kids to see the doctor and get the necessary treatment, even if it requires surgery or extended care. Moms should not be worried about going bankrupt if their child becomes ill. Moms need to know that if a child makes mistakes in life, as almost every child does, the systems of authority and correction will treat their children fairly. They'll get a fair shake. That they'll treat everyone equally. And that there will always be a way available to help their child get back on the right track if they go astray. They need to be able to sleep at night knowing that the other adults in their children's lives will treat them with respect and compassion, even when they make mistakes. They need to know that the land they live in will provide their kids a fair and equal chance to live a good life. And our moms need to know that they can live in safe and healthy family situations and partnerships if they choose to do so without fear of harassment or violence. The Center for Prevention of Abuse has this as a major part of their mission. So in an affluent society like ours, it's not too much to ask or even demand that these minimal baseline elements of a decent life be available to all, and to give every mom a fighting chance to comfort their children and confront all the other challenges that will still be there, even if there's good schools and health care and all that. It'll still be challenging. It'll still be challenging. It's not too much to ask for such a world. My heart is broken when I hear and see the moms whose kids have been shot by gangs, or when we go to a stand down and see a young person who's been shot by a gang member, or by anyone for that matter. My heart is broken sometimes where we see situations in our society where young people have been shot by law enforcement officers, and then there's always question of justice in those cases, and some of them appear to be just and some appear to be unjust, and it's heartbreaking. Feel my heart broken for the law enforcement officers who are killed in the line of duty and their moms at home, losing them, or the moms of soldiers who we lose overseas. I am deeply disappointed in the last couple of days that our new Attorney General has just set back the progress in the fairness of the criminal justice system that's been worked on so hard over years of slow progress, and told all the prosecutors that all charges should be set at the highest level of charge and the most severe sentence. That's the new guideline. After years of progress on giving law enforcement people discretion and letting them make decisions, it's a very disappointing step. It's not a wise or compassionate move, actually, especially in a country that has the highest percentage of incarceration of any country in the world. We already have that. We don't have to get more severe. We're already the most incarcerating country in the world, which is just so contrary to, I think, our sense of identity that we're a caring and compassionate and fair nation. It's a dissonance that is so strange. How many moms' hearts are going to be broken with this new edict? And my heart goes out to moms who may be deported and lose their kids and have their family separated because of a heartless system of immigration that is in desperate need of reform and which can be reformed if those whose responsibility it is will just sit down and do it. It's not something that cannot be fixed. It just hasn't been done. So, these are not the Mother's Day gifts that anyone needs. What our moms need is that our moms need wise leaders who will govern with both their hearts and their heads and will govern with compassion. Our moms need leaders who respect women and their rights, leaders who don't violate healthy boundaries, leaders who women feel safe being around without fear of harassment or assault. And most of all, we need more of our leaders to be moms. This will be so much more of a healthy system when it's more balanced in that way. So moms, you can add this to your to-do list on the fridge: run for office. Just fit that in between lunch and work and kids and dinner and committee meeting at the church. If you run for office, we will give you a free pass on any committee work. I am making that offer today, and we will stand by it. Don't let me get away with going back on it. These steps of progress are not that far away. They're not like off in some distant planet that cannot be reached. This is all reachable. This is all doable. The steps of progress are not impossible. They may seem to be distant right now. We may be in retrograde right now. But the regress will not last forever. The moms and all who love them will prevail. Now, you might think I don't care about dads or about men, but that's not my reality at all. Some of my best friends are men, and there are lots of good guys around. And part of what makes us good guys, or helps us strive to be good guys, is that we support our moms, grandmothers, and sisters, and partners, and daughters, and friends in their struggle for full rights and equality. And one of these days, maybe next year, I'm going to arrange my schedule so that I can preach on Father's Day as well. But whatever the family type, whatever the configuration of parents and kids and relatives that we live in, all those who care for their kids and all those who care for kids beyond the family, teachers, nurses, doctors, Sunday school teachers, coaches, professors, role models of all kinds, all of these are worthy of our respect and support. It takes a village, that's one way to say it. It takes a complex network of support systems working in compassionate and healthy ways to ensure that every kid has a chance to grow up. Some of them are still going to make big mistakes. I made a couple of big mistakes when I was a kid, and what was nice but weird is that I didn't get caught. And one thing we need to be aware of is that there are racial differences and other kinds of differences between who gets caught and who doesn't. So all of these systems have to be looked at and are in need of reform. Whatever the nationality, religion, language, opinions, economic status of any mother, all mothers are the givers and sustainers of life. And we owe them all our gratitude. The earth itself is often envisioned as a mother because it's the earth that brings forth life. And metaphorically, we say that the earth gives birth to billions of creatures and the life-giving elements to sustain them, air and water and food, the elements of a healthy environment. We're speaking metaphorically, but the metaphors work. They tell the truth, a certain kind of truth. And we cannot afford to mistreat Mother Earth and still have a healthy life any more than we can expect to mistreat the moms of our world and still have them be able to raise their children in healthy paths. The earth as a mother cannot be mistreated, disrespected, treated as purely instrumental or raped, and still fulfill her role as the great life giver. Earth as mother also needs to be given respect and compassion, to be treated non-violently, to be nurtured as well as nurturing. We need to care for that which cares for us. We need to respect that which gives us life. And we need to create networks of reciprocal caring if we want to live in a non-violent, joyful world. This is what's often known as wisdom. How do we create those kinds of patterns of life? And interestingly enough, wisdom has historically often been envisioned as a goddess. The goddess Sophia is her name, actually. Sophia is the figure that in the mythological world embodies the quality of wisdom. She's in the Bible, by the way. I don't know if you were there for that Sunday school class, but she's in the beginning of Proverbs is one spot. So you can go and look that up, but don't do it right now. But you can find her in the book of Proverbs and in other places in the Bible. It says she's shouting in the street. She is shouting in the street to tell us what we need to be doing. My mom was a very imperfect person. That is almost like saying that the sun came up this morning or that the moon came out last night. Of course she was. But I never doubted her love for me, and that was always clear. She was tremendously important in my life, and she still is now 12, 15 years after she died. This is the love that has given us life, every one of us. The mother energy is the life-giving creativity at the heart of the universe. That's what our mothers express. So we need to honor that deep mother creativity, give it thanks and praise, and support it every chance we get. We cannot ever allow the mother in any form to be demeaned or exploited or mistreated. Without that mother energy, we would not be here. We owe it our lives. All thanks to all the mothers.